Are you tired of your movies making too much sense? Well, we have the streaming service for you. FullMoonFeatures.com offers you all the most incomprehensible movies you've ever watched at a low monthly rate. Head to FullMoonFeatures.com and prepare to be confused and delighted, but mostly confused.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk.
An opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Go, 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 go.
I just had to stroll through the scraggly woods.
He had no face!
Horror!
Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it.
New theatrical releases always get priority.
But we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible.
Wow, that didn't sound good. Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk. Your panel of expert hosts each week are Dr. Bruce Henson, who holds a PhD in spookology.
You know what my name is.
It says right here, it says Bruce
It's
Henson.
Bryce Hanson.
And me,
I'd appreciate it if you called me by my proper nouns.
And I'm Prof. David Day, the foremost expert in scare no-nos. New theatrical releases always get priority, but we also review very, very old movies, both good and horrible. Today, we've got a great show for you. We did the dirty work of watching 1989's Puppet Master for you, so you don't have to. So that's what we're reviewing today. You should check us out over at horrormovietalk.com. From there, we got links to everything. If you want to follow us on social medias, we got all that baloney. We got second Saturday every month watch parties over at streamlounge.io. Follow us on there, and you can have a Twitch-like experience watching movies with quippy, goofy guys in the corner of the screen, and we'll watch horror movies, and it'll be fun. We post new episodes of the show every single Wednesday, so make sure to subscribe and leave us a nice review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you'd like to get a hold of us, you can do so by calling 682-253-4468. The way the show's going to work today, we're going to start out by giving a brief review and our score for the movie, score on a scale of 1 to 10. And then we will get into spoilers and spoil the movie once we've reviewed it. So if we get done reviewing this and you're like, I really want to watch Puppet Master on Tubi, then good news for you. You can just pause our program and pick it up after you're done with this hot sack of shit. So later in this episode will be very exciting. We're going to have a whole moment where we talk about how our Kiggins show, our first live show ever went, where we screened The Exorcist. It was a blast. Tons of people showed up, and we had just a fabulous time. And then we're also going to be doing horror movie horrors. Y'all heard me complaining last week about how we had a lack of calls, and everybody just started calling. Mm-hmm. So that's great. Thank you for calling in. So, as I said, we watched Puppet Master on Tubi, and we're reminded of a simpler time, a time when puppets ruled the earth, and we were helpless to prevent their tyrannical rule. Here is the trailer.
In a house of mysteries.
This hotel seems to have quite a history, Mrs. Gallagher.
Who are you people?
A research team with special powers.
My God.
She's experiencing the past because we are all joined by our thoughts.
Has uncovered an ancient secret.
I have something I want to show you.
Metaphysically speaking, I killed myself.
But they are playing with an evil force.
What would you do with the power?
You can't save her, Alex.
They have given life to a deadly power.
We're all in danger.
And now a box of little toys
I think someone's in the room, Frank.
has become a gang of little terrors. Pinhead, Blade, Ms. Leach, jester, and tunneler. Irene Miracle, Paul Lamont, Barbara Crampton, and William Hickey as the Puppet Master.
Metaphysically speaking, Bryce, this movie sucked ass.
I was reading ahead in your review, and I love one of these lines.
Okay, so here's the synopsis for Puppet Master. If you can make a synopsis for a movie, here it is. Puppet Master is the quote-unquote story, and I'm using that term very loosely, of André Toulon, note the pronunciation, a master of puppets who has found an ancient Egyptian method of imbuing puppets with life. He killed himself long ago, and now he's back? ? But he's a different guy now, and his psychic friends must suffer because they are psychic too? ? Everyone gets more full moon features than they bargained for. Bryce, I was trying to come up with another commercial for the start of this, and I think this episode could also be brought to you by Charles Band, the owner and founder of Full Moon Features. It could also be brought to us by his new book, Confessions of a Puppet Master, which we read, and it was surprisingly good, leading me to believe that Charles Band hired a ghostwriter, ironically, to write about his own life, whereas he wrote all these movies. He should have just hired a ghostwriter to write his movies, and maybe they'd have been comprehensible and entertaining.
Yeah, it's,
He hired a ghostwriter, for sure, to write this Confessions of a Puppet Master book, and it turned out engaging and entertaining. By the way, you should check out Confessions of a Puppet Master. It's a fun book.
Well, it could have been him. It could be... He's not like an awful writer, but he could be much better at writing about himself versus fiction.
There's
something about
they're so all these movies are so completely incomprehensible. There's no through line. It's how could you write so many of these and never get better? How?
Well, there's just not enough time to think about it. You got to move on to the next one.
Oh man, it's just bonkers.
Yeah.
So here goes my review for Puppet Master. Puppet Master 1989 spawned a massive 14-movie series of sequels and spin-offs. It was written by, you guessed it, Charles Band, who we interviewed a few months ago in our Ginger Dead Man review. That was sometime in December, I believe. It's a typical exploitation movie by Full Moon Productions, cashing in on the recent success of, at the time, creepy little things movies like Gremlins, Child's Play, and Dolls. For some reason that I can't quite work out, Puppet Master struck a chord with general audiences and became a straight-to-video hit. With a budget of $400,000, it went on to make many millions and surpassed many theatrical releases of the times in terms of profitability by a pretty wide margin. The movie itself is profoundly flawed. I found it extremely boring and confusing. There's not a lot here in terms of redeeming value other than the circus of zany sequels that it spawned. Most of my criticisms can be boiled down to the phrase, "It's the best that Full Moon has to offer," which is the truth.
That's the one that I loved. This is the best we can do.
This is the best we can do. It's wacky, stupid, and has a mildly interesting baddie. I think the principal sin that Puppet Master commits is that it takes itself too seriously. The dialogue and story make very, very little sense, but they keep at it. And when the script falters and becomes boring, they keep shoving it down your throat. But really, it's your fault for expecting anything from a straight-to-video movie called Puppet Master. Although, I've only seen one other Puppet Master movie, Puppet Master: The Littlest Reich in 2018 movie that we reviewed, I would recommend it much more enthusiastically than I would the original. The Littlest Reich understands what it is and embraces it, while the original gropes around aimlessly to try and find something entertaining to show you.
Yeah.
I give this one a 2 out of 10.
I'm right there with you.
It's not quite as bad as Ginger Dead Man or Rats.
It's only slightly better than Rats, but this is a pretty rough watching experience. Like, I bought a DVD. It was at like 7-Eleven. There was a DVD set of the Puppet Master. It has like all 14 movies on it.
Yeah.
And it was selling for like $3 or something. I was like, we'll eventually get to it, so might as well buy it. And I couldn't find it.
How'd that work out for you?
And I ended up watching it on Tubi. And I craved the commercial breaks.
Yeah.
Throughout. I'm like, Jesus Christ, where are all the commercials?
That's saying something, man.
Yeah.
So
it was pretty rough. This it's like Charles Band gets a simple concept. Like, he sells the poster, and the poster tells you, like, this is going to be about murderous puppets. And you're like, yeah, we can work with that. Like, slasher about murderous puppets. And Charles Band looks at that concept and is like, oh, goody. I can't wait to fuck this up. And goes like a completely different nonsensical route that you're like, what? Why are
you focusing on all this other stuff?
Why is this about a group of psychics? Like, what? What does this have to do with puppets or their masters?
Right, because the formula to a straight ahead slasher is so much more simple.
Yeah, over half of the movie has no puppets in it. The puppets like do not factor in until like the last 30 minutes of the hour and 30-minute long movie.
It's just basically just a slasher, right?
Yeah.
Why not follow the slasher formula a little bit?
Yeah. It's there's so many non sequiturs of like, oh, I'm feeling psychic feelings of celebrities that fucked here. Like, oh, it's Clark Gable and some other girl. It's like, okay, so
I imagine,
what does that have to do with driving forward the story or doing anything?
I imagine he thinks he's doing the audience a favor by being like, they're going to want to laugh. So let's put in some funny stuff. But, you know, it's written like somebody who's not funny trying to write funny and just totally missing the mark. Just being like, it's funny to say Clark Gable. It's 1989. And it just doesn't land at all.
Yeah, it's a bizarre movie, but that, I mean, if you've seen in any of his other movies, that's to be expected.
Yeah,
but yeah, I agree. I give it a 2 out of 10 too. It's rough, and it's not. There's not enough to really make fun of to make it like enjoyable. That's
right.
It's not so bad it's good. It's just really depressingly bad.
Yeah, it's terrible. What would you say is? I'm groping around here for a picture that I need, but what would you say? How would you compare this to The Littlest Reich, which we was one of the first movies first 15 movies we reviewed?
Yeah. No, I mean, definitely Littlest Reich was way more interesting, and it went a lot harder. Like it was a lot gorier. And that movie had nothing to do with Charles Band, apparently. That was taken over by Fangoria, I think, produced that, like Fangoria Pictures.
That's right.
And
fabulous.
And it had like a decent cast.
Yeah,
I mean,
B-cast.
in terms of B actors.
Yeah, they say Barbara Crampton's in this, and she is for like in the same way Gary Busey's in The Ginger Dead Man. He's like,
no,
in it for like,
that's being generous. Barbara Crampton was not. Barbara Crampton was in as an extra with lines,
right? Yeah,
but she.
Well, that's pretty much all Busey was in it for. Like he was in it for just the 2 or 3 minutes at the start. It wasn't even his voice the rest of the time.
It was his voice.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was. Oh, yeah, it was. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, at least he was took like a couple hours to do, like ADR.
Ugh.
But yeah, so
there it is, Puppet Master.
It's so unfortunate because I was looking forward to this. I'm like, surely this must be like, this is the source of all Full Moon Productions like cred,
right?
So this
he named his memoir after this.
Yeah, this must be like the good one. Like this must be what people are craving of, like, yeah, more of this. Like, yeah, they have some missteps, but some, every once in a while they're going to get back to like Puppet Master territory, and then we're playing ball. Ugh. So I can't imagine what the sequels are like, but I'm going to guess that it's as bad or worse than this.
So we have a couple other podcasts that we do on our Patreon, one of which is pretentious reviews. And so we, once a month we release a review of a horror movie that we want to watch over there. And one of them was Ghoulies, and that's another Charles Band flick. Strangely, I think I enjoyed Ghoulies more than Puppet Master.
I don't think Ghoulies was directed by Charles Band.
This wasn't directed by Charles Band. This was written by Charles Band.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
This was directed by some other fella.
Okay.
But yeah, so anywho. Not fat. I did enjoy Ghoulies more than Puppet Master, which is saying something because I didn't enjoy Ghoulies very much. It was equally incomprehensible. It was just,
but it had goofy fun.
Yeah, it had goofy fun. It wasn't just a drama with a slasher in there somewhere too.
Yeah.
This was a drama. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah.
With that, hey, you guys, we had our first show of Kiggins Cult of Horror here in Vancouver, Washington on Main Street, where we did a live show. We showed The Exorcist, and tons of people showed up. We had a great time. I mean, I think we really fucking killed it in terms of giving people what they paid for, which was just a great Friday night. And good news, we have 3 others scheduled and question mark into the future. So the next show is going to be on April 22nd, and that's going to be The Burbs with Tom Hanks. So you guys, people are flying out for these events. People are saying they're coming from the East Coast. They're coming from Kansas. They're coming from all over Chechnya. So come on out. See The Burbs with us on April 22nd, and then 2 of our other shows are The Fly, and that's on May 27th, and Hereditary on June 24th. And doors open for all those shows at 9 p.m. You're going to want to get there a little bit early because we actually had a line heading down the block. So be there 9. Pre-show starts at about 9:30.
Yeah. I think next time they'll probably have more staff. I think they were surprised that they were as understaffed as they were.
Yeah, they did not expect Horror Movie Talk fans to show up en masse. And the other thing is, if you're tired of commercials, we recently added a bunch of commercials to the shows. If you don't like those, it is how we are monetizing the show currently. It is a free show, and you can get rid of those commercials if you just, for the cost of a cup of coffee per month, for $6.66, you can get early access to all of our episodes, and that's without ads. They have no ads injected into them, so it's another great way to support us. And if we hit 125 patrons, we will do something special for y'all. We will do a commentary track of probably some horrendous movie,
right?
Like Human Centipede 2 or something like that. So
maybe the SSCC camp will go full bore in the campaign.
Oh, I like it. Well, we get to choose it.
I wouldn't like it. We get to choose it?
I mean, yeah. We chose the other one. It's up to us what we do.
Oh, I thought they voted on it.
No.
Never mind.
Maybe they did. I don't know. We'll have to check the tapes.
Yeah.
Anywho, so support us on Patreon, get access to no commercials and all that baloney. Another way to support us is by buying our merch. You can head over to horrormovietalk.com/shop, buy our logo tees, buy stickers done by our resident artist who fucks so hard. His name's Dustin Goebel, and you can check him out over at dgoebel00 on Instagram. That's DGOEBE L00. And he, have him commission some art for you. Keep him busy. Keep his hands from being idle, because who knows, when you fuck so hard, it's dangerous to just leave those things out and about.
Right.
If you'd like to get a hold of us, call our voicemail line at 682-253-4468, and maybe you'll get lucky and Bryce will pick up the phone and be like, talk sweet, sexy nothings into your ear. But I promise you he won't.
Probably not.
Yeah, he doesn't do that. Thanks again for listening, and let's get into spoilers. Spoilers. So, now we're going to spoil an unspoilable movie. There's really nothing to spoil here. It's bad. It's just really, really profoundly bad. I don't know what prevents it from getting a 1. What do you know exactly what's going on in my head or your head?
There is this veneer of quality on it that's undeniable. Like, it's not.
The puppets are strangely effective.
The puppets are effective. There's a little bit of charm in terms of like the production and the direction, but it's just it falls so flat on the story and writing that it's like it's so hard to understand what they're going for. It's just confounding that like you put this much effort into it and it's still like, well, wait, didn't everyone like just stop and be like, well, what's the point?
No. The answer is no.
Like,
you're paid to shut the fuck up.
It's one of those things where you realize, like, oh, this is why in Hollywood that one or two sentence like summary of pitching a movie is so important.
Oh yeah.
Because what would be the one sentence summary of Puppet Master?
Yeah. 5 or 6 little puppets come to life and start killing people in a hotel.
Yeah. That would be interesting if they kept to that.
That's the right way to pitch it.
Right.
Right? But instead, what is the actual pitch for it?
A group of psychics come together to a hotel because one of their psychic friends died, investigating the possible existence of an Egyptian curse that gives life to inanimate objects.
Specifically puppets,
and the last known puppet master was Andre Toulon that committed suicide, but his puppets are still alive, and they don't know it. And then the puppets go on a killing spree.
Yeah, it's a big run-on sentence, just big mess. It's like a big scat anthem. It's like a bunch of scat.
Okay.
A couple weeks ago, we were talking about Neil Cicierega and how he's the mashup king.
Uh-huh.
Well, the other mashup king, the warring tribe with him, is Fart Simpson, who does all the YMH, the Your Mom's House mashups. And now Neil never got back to me. I reached out to him
I reached out to him too
for a second or third time. It's impossible to get a hold of this man. So I'm reaching out to Fart Simpson, and I'm going to see if I can get some of that sweet scat anthem at the start of our show.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right though about the elevator pitch for this thing. Whew. But you know what? There were some redeeming parts of this, right? So let's hit on those. So like specifically, things that worked for me was the stop motion animation. Anytime I see stop motion that's done decently, I'm like, damn, that's fucking, it's just cool.
Yeah.
It just brings me back to a time. And there's some great looking stop motion in this.
This is like, this is another instance where just don't think about it too much because it instantly falls apart. So that the movie's called Puppet Master.
Ugh.
And it starts out with a guy that makes puppets, so marionettes. Puppets have strings, if I can remember right from Pinocchio. Like,
Ew, no, David.
That's a pretty big part of puppetry and marionette. That there has to be some kind of strings. Like,
well, not according to Pinocchio. There ain't no strings on me.
But he's just a wooden boy. That was a parody.
You're a wooden boy
of puppets, but yeah. So really, it should be Doll Master.
Doll Master, touche. Yeah, no, yeah, there weren't it. You're wow, already coming out the gate with hot takes,
right?
Real, like well thought out criticisms that you don't need to be made about Puppet Master.
But that's my favorite part of these type of movies, where it's like just the premise
is fucked.
Is fucked.
Yeah,
like even if they wanted to do it like straight ahead about what the movie should be about,
right?
They've already fucked themselves. Like, and it would take nothing. It'd be like, oh, they cut off their own strings. Okay, now they can move around.
Yeah,
or something.
You can't blame everything on being pigeon-toed.
Right. You can't blame everything on having been pigeon-toed, David. Oh my.
Yeah, you're right. They can't even get like, it's like definitions are important. It's like Doll Master doesn't work though.
Why wouldn't it?
Because it's not a phrase. It's not a well-known phrase. Metallica didn't write a song called Doll Master. Yeah. They wrote a song called Puppet Master.
Yeah.
It's their whole fucking album, bro.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So and then they were like,
well, no, it'd be Master of Puppets.
Oh, touche. No,
so you could just say Master of Dolls.
No, it doesn't work. That's not the phrase. It would work
just as well.
No, that's not the phrase. And then they were like, well, they're puppets, but we just won't put that in because it'd be too much effort. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't want them drag it. They're going to get hooked on stuff. They're going to get caught on the doorway.
I mean, imagine what you could do with that. Like they use their little strings as a choking device. What do you call that?
Yeah,
a garrote.
A garrote.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at these deep do you ever think you'd learn something in a Puppet Master review, listener? No. But here you go. The little thing you use to choke somebody, the little string, that's a garrote.
So it starts out with Andre Toulon.
Note the pronunciation. Making
a puppet, and then the puppets are kind of idly sitting around looking out the window.
Yeah, they're hanging out. They're chilling. Illin'. A little bit of killing.
And then we got like the puppet cam of some puppet is out there on the street and running around.
Street puppet.
And really doesn't have any purpose other than to just have a camera that shows
introduce the premise.
Germans are there. Did this jump out at you how much Andre Toulon sounds like Adam Sandler, like an elderly Adam Sandler?
Oh, yeah, I guess. No, it didn't jump out at me, but now thinking back, I can vaguely remember.
It's okay, my little puppet.
Little puppet.
I know what is going to happen. I will name you Shabba the Who.
Shabba the Who.
I will name you Crazy Carrot on the Head.
You do great.
Crazy. Look at me. I'm Crazy Drill on my head.
Look at me.
Whoopity-doo.
Whoopity-doo.
The Germans are coming.
Well, I don't know. Wow, this is... You do a great Adam Sandler impression.
It's not that hard.
With my Steve-O and your Adam Sandler.
Let's take it on the road. Oh my God. I don't know if I have it. Was a clip on TikTok of it was a sound clip of Steve-O talking about his career, but it started off with Whoopi Goldberg.
What?
And then it transitioned into the clip of Steve-O talking. It's amazing. Like, I showed it to my wife because they sound identical. Steve-O sounds like Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah,
and
dude.
I showed it to Erin.
You gotta talk way up in your register, dude.
And she was like,
there's no vocal cords involved.
She was like, yeah, I mean, what, like, why did she say that? I'm like, no, don't you get it? Like, didn't you watch? And she's like, oh yeah, it's Adam Carolla. She missed it. Steve-O's Adam Carolla. I was like, no, that's Steve-O talking. That's not Whoopi Goldberg. She's like, what the fuck?
Wow.
Yeah, I'll have to find it.
Interesting.
So you not only have a great Steve-O impression, you could also
do Whoopi.
I'm
multi-talented. Yeah, it's funny. I was watching Jackass the other day, and I think it was Johnny. Somebody said, "Yeah, that movie Ghost, that movie with Whoopi Goldberg," and he goes, "I love Whoopi Goldberg." Bringing it full circle. Yeah, so Andre Toulon, for some reason, just kills himself as detectives bust into his room. It makes no sense at all. Then we cut
I think those are actually Nazis. I think that's the implication.
Oh.
They're Nazis, and they're coming after the secret to puppetry.
Oh, wow. This makes suddenly more sense.
Yeah, you got to fill in some of the stuff. Like, I think I as little as I paid attention, I have a sense that I understand the plot a little more than you do from your synopsis.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I was completely flabbergasted the whole way through this. It made no sense to me.
Yeah. Well, it's the dilemma with these movies is that you get so disengaged and like
you just fall out of it.
You disassociate from the moment, and you're like, I'm
somewhere else now. You can't even
anything.
You can't even help it. You just it's like falling down a pit. You just like, oh, where am I? Oh no!
You go to the sunken place when you watch these movies.
Yeah,
you're like in Get Out, and you're like, ooh, no.
Yeah, and then
see in the distance a frame that
you can
shows
see your phone like far away, and you're like, oh, what is this review for the restaurant I went to today? Let me rate other reviews instead of watching Puppet Master.
Oh my god! Yeah. So like. Yeah, I think it's implied that they're Nazis and they're coming to get the secret of
I don't care.
Animation.
Just look, you're trying
but
too
there's
hard.
there's no point. It doesn't explain why he committed suicide. It's not important to the plot whatsoever, other than it shows him hiding the puppets.
I'm going to give our audience a little peek behind the curtain of horror movie talk right now. Okay, I chose this movie because I knew there'd be nothing to talk about after about 20 minutes of talking about this movie.
Really?
So that we could talk about the cool stuff that we did in our live show and listen to listener calls.
And that's when you underestimate Bryce Hanson.
Dude.
So I can sink my teeth into this piece of shit like I was paid $100,000.
Yeah, we got to talk about that today. We'll get on that in the afterpod. So we zoom past that baloney that's incomprehensible, and we come into the present day, and there's a Yale for some reason, and then that's done, and then a carnival. Now we're at a carnival, and there's this like crystal ball reader lady who's telling the fortune of this young couple, and the fella, she's like. This was the part where I was just like, "This is stupid. This is horrible. This is horrible. I hate it." She's like,
"This is the point that I wanted to make too."
The ex-girlfriend or the girlfriend is like,
Barbara Crampton is like, "Will he ever find like a really good job?"
And the crystal ball lady's like, "Yes, I see a job in retail sales."
And Barbara Crampton's like, retail sales? That's impossible.
Wait. I have to break down this interaction. She's like, I see a job in retail sales. And you're like, what is that? How is that a good job?
Yeah, so the answer is no.
And then, Barbara Crampton's like, oh my God, no way. He could never handle retail sales. He flunked out at 10th grade. And you're like, what is happening? What? Okay, now I'm like, I was alive in 1989. Like, I was 5 or 6. Did I not? Was retail sales like really something to aspire to? No, it couldn't have been. Am I so out of touch? What is...
I wonder if it was like what he meant to say was like real estate sales, but it never, like once the draft was made, it was never reread until the person said the line.
I'm going to say that it was written on the script as real estate sales, but the actor never passed 10th grade and therefore read it incorrectly as retail sales.
Yeah. Oh, he's going to have a great job in retail sales. Oh,
That's impossible. He never passed the 10th grade.
Yeah. Well, that is where you go to work if you didn't pass the 10th grade.
Well, it's where you go to work if all kinds of things happen. It's a catch-all. It's probably the most common job out there because a wide swath of humanity can do it. People who are way overqualified and down on their luck do it. Not even down on their luck. There's perfectly viable, equitable jobs out there for retail sales. Like, it's such a blanket statement, insane thing.
And the fact that she was like, no, that's impossible. He didn't pass the 10th grade. And then the fortune teller, like, really backpedaled. She's like, oh, I didn't mean retail sales. I meant construction. Yeah, that's the ticket. She turned into John Lovitz.
He's going insane.
He's going to do construction of retail. So he's going to sell retail locations. So it's kind of like retail.
So awkward.
Yeah.
I would love in this moment when they're fortune telling, they're like, what do you see in my future? For her to just go, I see you being murdered by puppets.
This can't be right. Yeah. This can't be right.
Yeah.
Puppets.
And then it cuts from her. So this is so confusing because this
is so confusing.
This psychic is one of the characters in the group of psychics, but it's kind of hard to tell.
Oh.
That
See, I didn't know.
Yeah, if you didn't make that connection, it just feels like a complete pointless scene because nothing happens to those characters.
Look at Bryce
after
bringing it together for Dave, knowing he had to carry this episode.
Like, it's one of those things where you realize the importance of like establishing continuity of like, okay, we have to give something for the audience to grab onto. Like,
right.
You know, she's got to look at least similar to like the last time that they saw her.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it moves on to the other psychic couple, which is this weird scene that feels like it's kind of stealing from Ghostbusters. Of like, they've got the woman laying down with like the things on her head and a vague electronic device. And the guy's like, okay, I need you to now imagine your wildest sexual fantasies in great detail. And he's using his psychic powers to understand, and his girlfriend is supposedly psychic too, but she can't see anything. Which is weird because so it establishes the different psychic powers of the psychic team, of like the Captain Planet psychic team.
It does.
So the guy with the ponytail, he can just straight ahead read minds. Apparently, somehow. His girlfriend can experience the past from objects. So if she's touching like a bed, she can experience people that had sex in the bed before, mostly just around sex in this movie. Like,
yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, this is where these people fucked here, and then over here these people fucked. And apparently no other information conveyed from objects other than fucking. And then the fortune teller that we saw, she's just a fortune teller with some psychic abilities. And then the other guy with like the shoulder length hair.
Yeah, he has looking fucker.
He has dreams where he can see the future. So it's a real, it's a real differentiation between them. So if you know your girlfriend can experience psychic
sex energy
from objects, and you turn to her and it's like, so are you getting the same thing from her mind as I am? It's like, well, don't you Don't you know how her powers work by now? If you're, I don't know.
You know, okay.
Again, we're putting into more thought than Charles Band ever did.
Hang on here. I want to hone in on this. This is important. You have a real talent. It's an impressive talent, but sometimes it bums me out. Like, it's so important for one of us to be able to do the thing that you do on this show, which is really, like, objectively sit back and understand on first viewing, like, nearly incomprehensible bullshit, and then put it together into something comprehensible for listeners. I just wish you didn't do it right now.
You just want to get to the kicking stuff.
No, it's yes, but also like it bums me out to hear this movie made into sense after I just watched it and I was sure it made no sense at all. You know what I mean? Like, I sat down and I watched the same movie that you saw, and I literally was just so frustrated and upset by it that I was just like, man, fuck this, dude. No one can make any sense of this. And then you sit down and you're like, no, here's how. They were giving you insight into how their powers worked. I didn't pick up any of that. None. It passed me by.
Yeah.
I do this as much as you. I just don't have that talent.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, bro.
I have talent. Like, I feel like my talent lies in drawing meaning where things get wishy-washy, where they're not nailed down into the script. Like that's my thing that I just do inherently.
Right.
But this thing where you're able to remember this horrible script and be like, oh, this is what they were doing. I can't.
I think your talent is also getting angry at the film. Like the energy you put into it when it angers you is very valuable to the podcast, because I watch this and I hate it. And I am so...
You just associate.
I'm apathetic about it. I'm like, yep, it sucks.
I hate this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do that. Yeah, and then I just go, fuck this stupid thing. And I'm like... It's not going to stop.
Yeah. So let's speed through this. I know we want to get to other things.
No. We'll get... Look, Puppet Master is a staple. It deserves a fair shake, and I think you're giving it.
You know, it'd be a great bit for this episode.
What?
It's too late to add it. This would be an ideal one for Make It Better.
Yeah, but the problem with this is Make It Better would just turn it into a regular slasher. It's so incomprehensibly bad that it's barely a movie. So basically, Make It Better. I was thinking that same thing.
Make It Better would just be making a movie.
Making it into a movie? Yeah. Like,
I was watching it and like I could see in my mind's eye a great way to remake this would be to just do a direct remake but make it a comedy. And so like,
yeah, same
story, but like all the psychics are terrible. Like they're not good at being psychic at all.
I'll prove your point for you right now. Puppet Master: The Littlest Reich exists.
Yeah.
It's literally a direct remake of this, almost exactly.
Yeah, but there's not a group of psychics.
No, it's a hotel, though. It's a group of people in a hotel with Barbara Crampton and a bunch of puppets, and they kill people. And it's a comedy,
right?
And it's great. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So the psychics get to this hotel, and it's kind of wishy-washy around, like, what is the point of this? Because they're sent out signals by one of these other psychics that they got to come to this place, and then they get there, and the psychic is dead, but his wife is there. And they see...
My eye is twitching.
The dead psychic, and they make sure he's dead.
Yeah, they make sure he's dead. They push a thing into his chest like a needle. And it's like, what? Okay.
And then eventually there's like this exposition dump that explains everything, which is these magician psychics. They're searching for these Egyptian secrets of giving life to inanimate objects, and the latest person with this ability in the 20th century was Andre Toulon, and then they were like trying to follow the clues to where he might have hid these secrets, and that's led him to this hotel now. Okay, and then
I can't believe you're able to do this.
And then I can't underline this enough. This movie is called Puppet Master, and almost no puppets or their master factor into 3/4 of this movie.
Yeah, it's
like it just does not. It shows you puppets at the beginning, and then nothing.
Well, then there's like little hints of puppets watching things.
Yeah, and it's pointless. And then eventually the puppets come out and start killing.
Yeah,
and it's not clear why.
No.
And then eventually the reveal still doesn't make any sense.
None.
And
what is the reveal?
Okay, so the reveal is, and I think this is one where you were confused because you, and I thought too for a minute, like, oh, that must be a young Toulon.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I guess maybe what they're going for is this guy's like Toulon resurrected or something.
No, but it was their psychic friend,
right?
Found the secret, and he was using it to get eternal life.
Oh,
so
yes.
He reanimated his own body to be a living puppet, and apparently he is somehow the puppet master of the puppets that are killing people, but then the puppets turn on him because he was a real dick to him.
Yeah, he was mean to one puppet, so then all the other puppets like took that cue. They were like, oh, look, he's being mean to that one puppet.
Yeah.
If he's mean to one of them, he's mean to all of us. What will he do to me?
And then the puppets, after they've killed everyone, kill him.
Right.
By completely destroying his body. So... Sorry, let's talk about the puppets real quick, because we haven't even talked about
I was going to say, which is your favorite puppet? There's Blade, who's the puppet of Puppet Master, right? He's the guy with the knife. He's also got a hook for a hand.
And then his eyes turn into spikes for no apparent reason.
Yeah, when he's looking at stuff real hard. Yeah, there's the drill bit, tunneler. There's Lady Leech. Mm-hmm. There's Tiny. I think his name is Tiny. The tiny head and the big hands. He's the stop motion guy. There's the Joker, whatever the fuck his name is.
With the spinning head?
Yeah, with the spinning head.
I mean, Drillbit Taylor is probably the obvious choice.
That's Tunneler. That's your favorite?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I like Lady Leech.
Lady Leech is pretty good.
She's the scary one to me. Like, she sits there and vomits up leeches on you as you're tied up or something.
Yeah.
And she's kind of weirdly hot. Like, you're like, you have this big old boner.
Yeah, there's a moment where one of the psychic with the ponytail
that was great.
Is tied up and fucking his girlfriend, and then the girlfriend gets killed by a puppet, and then Lady Leech comes up and starts sucking on his nips. And it's like, ooh, would you not be able to tell that it's like a little tiny puppet mouth?
And he's like,
a little tiny puppet hand.
Suck on my nip with your teeny, teeny, tiny doll mouth.
It just goes to show you how much of the brain turns off when men are like about to come.
Honey, your nose feels like it's like maybe a fraction of a millimeter wide. You know that's my favorite thing on earth. When you make your proportions itty bitty teeny tiny.
The one in terms of like the meta appreciation of the movie, Tiny is the best.
Oh yeah.
Because it's the most obvious, like we're gonna save a lot on this budget if we can just use some guy's hands in some of these scenes to reach out.
Right.
Because like
punching.
Yeah. Punching.
Pa. Yeah, he really punches a lot.
Yeah. So I don't know. The one that gets all the attention is Blade, and he's like what? That's one of those situations where
kind of Melba Toast. I don't care.
The design looks the coolest, but it's the dumbest one.
Yeah,
really.
It's the least amount of hook, which is awkwardly he has a hook for a hand. So.
I love and he's like we see his first person perspective in the beginning of the movie.
And a lot of the way through this movie.
And I love that, like... okay, this is one of the things that in these low budget movies, you realize like, oh wow, all of a sudden you realize how important little tiny things are, like ADR or just the sound of it is. It sounds obvious, like someone that's not really great at it is just kind of winging it. So that's like the sound of the puppet from the puppet cam, and it's walking around. He's like, oh no, and it's like gives this personality of like basically Gizmo from the Gremlins, except it's supposed to be this menacing puppet.
Oh man,
it's like what? Well, but you just see it as like someone was sitting down and recording it in the moment, and they're like, "Oh, I got to show what's happening on screen with my voice."
See, now I think I have something that you don't have, and it's okay. Like, don't take offense to this, please, and just tell me if you think I'm right here. So, I think the way the puppets work is they like pick up on the vibe of the person controlling them, because Andre Toulon was like a good guy, and all of his puppets seem super chill. Like, and at the start, that the Blade was running around, but he was scared because he was just trying to get home to Andre.
Right. Even though he's made of knives.
He wasn't made. Oh, maybe he was.
He was.
Okay. Well, in any event, he seemed chill. Like they weren't killing or anything. They weren't protecting Andre from the Nazis like they could have. But then this new puppet master comes in. He's got like bad vibe. Right. So they're all bad vibing because they're being controlled by.
Okay. Yeah. That could be true.
You know, we're going to have to get on the phone, call Richard, and then see what the intention was, because it's
Charles Band. You mean
Richard Charles Band is his new name.
Okay.
Because I keep calling him Richard Band.
And then the other part is like the music. Like there's something about listening to the soundtrack of a really cheap movie that you realize like, oh, this just feels like a musician that's just kind of winging it and like putting the least amount of effort into it. It just feels like, okay, they turn on their synthesizer. You know, they're just kind of like, okay, this is kind of a vamp that I can do for a little while. And there's not like a comprehensive, like they're not sitting down like John Williams and coming up with like an iconic theme and leitmotifs or leitmotifs that they can use throughout the movie to like characterize certain characters and stuff. It's just like, no, it's all like do 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 do. So I could score a whole movie just from my voice.
Well, I think the movie is already scored. It exists in a pre-programmed Yamaha keyboard, and then they just take the pre-programmed and turn it into a minor key.
Just like, boom, all right, let's select bossa nova on the on the rhythm section.
Now hit minor.
Dun, 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 dun. Ooh, spooky.
Yeah.
Spooky puppets. So yeah, like just the sound. There's a lot of stuff where the quality just shows through. What are the good parts of the movie?
The kills are pretty great. Like when it finally gets to them, like the kills are fun. There's gratuitous boobage at times. There's also like moments where I was like, is the actor just trying to grope the actress? Like, is he literally just like, was he given like was his instruction to grab her, and so he took that as like grab her boob? Like, just grab her body somewhere, and then I can't I was in the moment, man. Like, there were moments where he was just like, and that made me feel a little uncomfortable, because I was like, that can't be the direction here, is to grab her boob to shake her awake or something like that. It's like,
I mean, that's where I grab, just like, I mean, that's the best handle.
What
are you gonna do? Grab onto their shoulders?
I'm going to throw this out there and say you might get more sex if you didn't awaken your wife by grabbing her boobs.
What?
I know, it's inexplicable. It's always the reverse of what you think.
Yeah. It's how guys' minds work. It's sexual. Why wouldn't it be sexy? I'm grabbing
sexual. What do you mean sexual isn't sexy? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
The kills were good. I really liked Lady Leech. She was vomiting up leeches everywhere. Tunneler had a good kill where he tunneled into somebody's leg or something like that. I don't know. The best part of it was when it was done. I couldn't believe it was an hour and a half. Yeah. How?
Yeah.
Why? Inexplicable. Straight to video. Maybe one of the most, aside from like skateboard videos and that kind of thing, this is maybe one of the most successful straight to video movies of the 80s and 90s, which is saying something. Anywho, if you like Full Moon Pictures, you'll like this movie. Not a lot. Maybe a little bit, I think. I imagine the sequels are varying degrees of better than this.
The more I watch Full Moon Features, the more I wonder, like, who possibly is the market for their streaming service?
High people.
Like
high people.
High people?
High people. I started watching Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong, and I was like, I get it. I'm just not high, and so no.
Yeah, but you can find all this type of movies on Amazon Prime, and they're going to be better anyways.
Look, I'm not arguing with you. Adult Swim basically came out and made a whole network of way better content.
Right. But they have this
but they built on the
platform,
concept.
and it's one of the most expensive platforms.
Hey,
It's like the same price as
you don't want
HBO.
to queer our Full Moon Features deal, do you?
Oh yeah. Okay.
So don't rush to see Puppet Master is all I'm saying. So now let's talk about how our first live show ever went, where we screened The Exorcist, the scariest horror movie of all time, at the Kiggins in downtown Vancouver, Washington, on March 25th.
Yeah.
Bryce, what's your first impression? How did it go?
Yeah, I'm over it.
What?
I'm just kidding.
I
was thinking about it so much yesterday. It just happened 2 days ago. So, it was probably, I think I'm the most cynical and you're the most optimistic about performance of things, or you the whole time were like, we're going to fill the theater.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Right.
Because the reality is, the most they've ever filled the theater is
halfway.
Like a third.
No, it's halfway.
Halfway.
Yeah.
And that's the best that it's ever been since they've owned it.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, well, to me, I'm like, well, we can't. Obviously, they have more invested in the success of the theater, and they can't figure out how to do it. So what are we going to do coming in and doing it? And then, the regular showings is probably, I don't know, I think they said they start, becoming profitable around, 70 or, I can't remember what they said. It depends on how much the licensing of the movie is, but, getting closer to 100 is kind of where their goal is. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, this is our first one ever. We don't really know what we're doing. No one knows what it's about.
Before you keep going with this, I'm just gonna intro the premise of the whole thing. So we just do a comedy routine where we introduce, the premise of our series of shows, which is it's a cult. And so we do a comedy bit to introduce the movie. We have a raffle, some giveaways at the end, and just try and make it an event instead of just a movie showing. And so that's the premise of this.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to communicate what it is, and even communicating it, there's still a little confusion, because it could go any number of ways, and one of the most common ways that people thought it might go is oh, they're going to make fun of the movie while they're watching it,
right? They thought it'd be like a Riff Tracks or Mystery Science Theater sort of thing,
and it's not that. It's literally just we're setting the mood. We're we're trying to come up with this cult idea to where we could build loyalty for this series of movies,
right?
And make you laugh with bits, kind of like what we do.
Make you come.
The second half of the podcast. And as well as a little bit of like trivia.
Yeah.
So trying to be entertaining and educational to help people appreciate the fact that they came out, plus appreciate the movie that they're about to watch.
Yeah, just like these shows. Yeah.
So that's the setup, and we've put a lot of thought into it, and wrote out outlines and like really came up with an idea, because previously they'd done like a hosted horror movie kind of series with another podcast, and it was basically just some drunken guy that gets up and reads off of IMDb for a minute and is a hype man a little bit, and then watches the movie. There's not really a big value add in terms of production or making an event, other than a guy can say that he's doing it.
Right.
So anyways, back to like the performance. Like I was expecting it to be not as good as a regular showing. I was like expecting like maybe we'll get like 30, 40 people.
Yeah.
And like it could be like, my worst fear was like you get it so few people to where it's painful that you're on stage. Like
Right.
their reaction is like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Are these? Can we get to the fucking movie? What the fuck is going on?
Stop it! You're bumming me out. Stop.
And so I was preparing myself for that, and it was in between. Like it was a very successful for this local theater.
Yeah.
Event. So what was the final count? Do you remember?
Well, somewhere between 80 and 100 people.
Yeah. So there was the pre-sales was, I think when we rehearsed on Wednesday, it was like in the 20s.
Yeah.
And we're like, ooh, okay. So it was like pretty in line with my expectations.
Yeah.
And
If
then
you want to help us out, by the way, if you want to help us out, buy pre-sale tickets to The Burbs, The Fly, Hereditary. That's how you can help out. If you want to come to these shows, just hop on Kiggins Theater, spelled RE.com, and buy those pre-sale tickets, because those pre-sale numbers help make us feel good about, ahead of time.
Plus it's cheaper for you.
It is cheaper. You save a couple bucks.
So, and then they told us like how it usually works out is they make about half as much at the door as they have for pre-sales. And then on the day of the event, the pre-sales had doubled. It was like in the 50s, I think.
Yeah.
And turns out they're pretty accurate with those. Like that was kind of how it worked out. There was about half as many door sales as pre-sales. But yeah, it was a great event. So probably one of the coolest things was Stream Lounge, where we do the second Saturday watch parties. They came out and sponsored.
They flew out
one of their employees to help out, and they
word up Mason
had the best perk. They would buy popcorn for anyone that signed up for Stream Lounge and followed us. So not only did we get a pretty good crowd at Kiggins, but almost every single person got concessions.
Yeah.
And it was paid for by Stream Lounge, at least the popcorn.
Yeah, the popcorn was.
And
by the way, if you're going to come to these events, know that they serve beer, they serve wine, they serve like all kinds of they got Zots. There's tons.
I know. I love the candy there. Like I'm not going to lie, I'm a candy dude.
Yeah.
They got Laffy Taffy.
Yeah.
Why doesn't every theater have
Abba
Laffy
Zabba,
Taffy?
dude? They got fucking all of it. Abba Zabba, you my only friend.
And so much so that like they were understaffed. Like it took over a half an hour for them to get through the line of people in concessions.
That's what you get for underestimating us. You don't underestimate Horror Movie Talk, baby.
So yeah, it went really great, and like,
dude, people were fucking laughing their ass off.
Yeah,
and we had a we explained that we're mostly a sex cult,
right?
And that we don't want to kill anybody. We just need more acolytes because you don't want to be doing all the fucking. You know, you want your buddy to come in and maybe take it.
I got here. Let me just like run through like what it was like for people that were there, because. Yeah. So we set the scene during the pre-show with I'm very proud of this playlist that I came up with. So it's very creepy, like choral classical music.
Don't give it away. Don't give the show away. This is going to continue to be the show. Don't give that out. That has, like...
Okay. Now you have all these rules for what we can talk about. Okay.
No.
What do you want to talk about?
Just... I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, yeah, go ahead. You're excited about it.
So, like, we set the scene with all this creepy music and like... But also we have, like, these intermittent announcements that are kind of, like, put people off kilter. Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
You know?
Those were fun to record.
And then at the start of the show, so you gotta... It's very unnerving music, like, challenging. Like, if you're sitting there, you're like, Jesus Christ, why?
Yeah.
Some of it's, like, you recognize, but some of it's, like...
A lot of Neil C.C. Raga.
Pretty grating. And then... It's got so you've established its dark mood, and then the show starts, and immediately it transfers into a jock jam of are you ready for this?
Are you ready for this? Dun, 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 dun,
And we're
dun, dun,
dancing down the aisle and like pointing at each other and high fiving, and it's just like it's great. And this, the idea of like...
It doesn't actually start with that. Where it starts is with Biggin, a town crier.
Right.
Just the largest man you've ever seen outside just going, come see The Exorcist, the scariest movie you've... In a giant cult outfit, in robes and I'm not sure. He probably got as many people to come to the movie as he did scare them away from the movie, because he is a certifiably gigantic man.
Yeah, it is a very... Here, I gotta...
His name's Biggin.
Come see The Exorcist, the scariest movie ever made. Can you handle it? Tonight.
Show me what you got. Yeah, I mean,
he's like 6'7" or something
he's
like
a big
that.
Man.
And it was great. And
this is going to be for all the shows. Like, you're going to get a great experience when you come.
Right. And
we'll make you come.
And then the show is like, so the sense that I got was, as we're dancing down the aisles, it was confusing, which is perfect.
Yeah.
It's like people are like, whoa, and they're not quite on board yet.
Right.
And then we're like, high-fiving on the stage, and they're like, oh, I get it. This is great, Yeah. And all of a sudden, like, the switch flipped, and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
We're here to have fun.
Yeah.
Yep. And it was great. They laughed at all the things that I really wanted them to laugh at on stage. We had enough room for improv,
right?
And that like turned out great. And then got to watch a great movie.
Yeah, it was a blast. And every show is going to be unique. Every show is going to be fun. Getting to work the crowd beforehand.
Yeah,
like, you were better at that than me. I didn't have.
That was something that I didn't anticipate. Was before they open the doors, there's a long line.
Yeah,
just waiting
down the block.
So I was like, oh, we should schmooze it up.
Yeah,
let's go out there and just talk to people, because the thing I was most interested in is, where did you hear about the show? And to my delight, I think every single marketing channel that we used to promote this, other than maybe like the PR or like the event calendars that I submitted to, someone mentioned, like, oh, I heard it from Reddit. Oh, I saw the flyer.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I heard it on Fun Employment.
Portland Radio Project. Yeah. We got to get the Columbian or the Oregonian or Willamette Weekly or something to pick up on the press release.
Yeah. So it was great. Talked to people in the line and like did our shtick of like, talking about the cult. We're in dark robes, I've got like
I had no pants on under my robe.
I've got a gold chain with like a movie reel on it.
It's great.
Like what's his name?
You're still wearing the same shirt.
Is it Eazy-E? No, who am I thinking of?
Yeah, Eazy-E.
The
clock.
The clock. Is that Eazy-E?
No, it's not Eazy-E.
It is something.
Waka Flocka. Snoop Dogg. Dr. Dre.
I'm drawing a blank. All I can think about is VH1 dating
Yeah,
special.
boy, Flava Flav.
Flava Flav. Yeah, Flava Flav. Flava Flav. So I've got my Flava Flav cultist gear. You know, I'm talking about like, hey, welcome cult members kind of thing. And they're like, hey. And that's the thing that you don't realize if you haven't done like a live event before is like, you don't appreciate people want to have fun.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like they want to laugh, and like it behooves them to
participate
because otherwise, like, what's the point like of not enjoying it while you're there?
Can you imagine if we had a bunch of people showing up in cult regalia?
Yeah, that'd be great.
How fucking amazing!
One of the first things that the person in line said was like, oh, "No one told us that we were supposed to dress up." I was like, "Well, you know, you can't.
You didn't know.
You can't be commanded in all things."
I go. It's a cult. You didn't think to wear a robe? You know, it's like, yeah. It was a real good time, and I'm so glad that everybody came out. We had a big raffle at
and
the
also
end.
we got listeners come out. We got to meet listeners in person that were local to the area. You know, people I've seen. A
listener came out from Tacoma, dude. We gave him a prize for being the furthest away.
Yeah. So I mean, like who was that?
I can't remember anybody's name.
But I know that people that I've seen on Facebook and people I've talked to.
Angelica and Walter came out?
Angelica and Walter. You know, I feel like I know them from, you know, just social media. But I got to see them in person. It was great. And they were wearing the Horror Movie Talk T-shirts like they were representing.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, we did it. Yeah. Like we can. It's.
I didn't see your mom. Where's your mom?
I was going to make up a joke. She's just at home. I don't know.
Oh, poor Tommy.
I wouldn't want my mom to come to this. Are you crazy?
Oh, no?
I say the F word, and I talk about sex.
Really? When I do it, she giggles.
My mom would be so disappointed.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Disappointed?
Yes.
You're like 40.
She'd be like, that's not how you were raised.
Yeah, that's what my mom would
She was just...
What is that shit?
Here's a example. This happened last week. She was like, so, what? You know, you grew up and you were raised to not
bullshit.
To not drink coffee. Like,
shut up. Why does that matter to you?
Just why did you start drinking coffee? I'm like, and the answer is like, I wanted to, and I don't believe in that.
You ain't my puppet master anymore.
I don't believe in, you know, for Mormons, I don't believe in the word of wisdom anymore. It's like, that's not prophecy to me.
A better question would be, why do you care so much? Why?
No, but I know why she cares so much.
Why?
That's the thing. Because she believes in the tenets of this religion, and it comes directly from God, and that's very important. And like
it comes directly from God for you not to drink fucking caffeine, hot drinks, hot beverages.
Yeah, specifically coffee and tea. No.
Why would God care about? Now the next question is, okay, so you care about it because God cares about it. Now let's go a little bit deeper and go, why does God care if I drink coffee?
Yeah.
Why would he have made it if not to partake?
I know. So
answer me that, Tommy. Why does God not want me to drink coffee? Let's hear this one.
It's not... No, because I wouldn't ask that question because I already understand.
And what is it?
It's religious thought and religious devotion.
That's insane! God doesn't care if you drink coffee.
Listen, David, we're starting a cult, so you have to start to understand these things to entrap people and to have power over them. Like
things will make sense. Like some of the stuff that God does, which is like, don't murder people. Hey, not a lot of cults following that one, but it makes a ton of sense. Unless you want to.
Unless they're your enemies.
Anywho.
So, yeah, I mean, my mom that would be rough for me.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, it was great. Yeah. People showed up, and I think the most important thing now is like, I think there's all those people get it now. They're like, oh, this is what it is.
It's going to be a blast.
And they're going to hopefully come back, at least to the ones that are like the the blockbusters.
No, they're all blockbusters, dude. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time, no matter what. And
so they're going to come back, and they're going to bring friends. They're going to, like, talk about it. I think word of mouth was the biggest source of growth for the podcast, and it's going to be the same thing for this movie series, I think.
Yeah. So we had a great time. Y'all should come out. Again, that's Kiggins Theater, spelled RE.com. You buy your pre-sale tickets to The Burbs, April 22nd, and all the other shows. We got The Fly, we got Hereditary, and we'll probably make another series this summer. And with that, let's get into horror movie.
Whore.
All right, this is a little bit where you call 682-253-4468. You leave us a message on there, and man, you guys really came in for us this week. Here we got our first caller. Here they go.
Bryce, David, hey, CJ from Massachusetts.
Hey, CJ.
Hey, I'm listening to the Tucker and Dale versus Evil episode, and I learned that new word, stob. I didn't know that was a thing. But I'm curious, because I haven't gotten a chance to listen to the afterpause yet or anything. So, David, anytime that there's talk of trees or chainsaws, you get very excited and you're also knowledgeable. So I'm wondering, bud, what do you do for work? Are you an arborist? Because I'm sure that, you know, those of us who have listened to the afterpods probably have a better idea. Like I said, though, I haven't gotten a chance to do that yet. So I'm just curious, and thanks for teaching me a new word. All right, bud. See ya.
Yeah, thank you, bud. Thank you, CJ, for giving us a call. Yeah, I do. So I grew up, my parents were botanist. My mom was a botanist or something. You know, she went to school for plants.
Was she? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. And my dad was always a nurseryman. He's a horticulturist, and now he's an arborist. He owned a nursery for a long time. He's always been...
He's like the top tier arborist, right?
Yeah, he's a board-certified master arborist. My brother's an arborist. He's in the family business over there with my dad. And then I couldn't stand working with my dad for 10 minutes. So, you know, what I did was I went into, when 2008 hit, I stopped being an electrician because there just wasn't any work in that. And I went to work at the Forest Service, doing trail maintenance, which is mostly just cutting up trees, because trees fall over trails over the winter. And so you buck them up. And I did that for many years. And then also wildland fire, which is a lot of cutting up trees. And so I cut up a lot of trees and with chainsaws. So that's how I got my experience. Cut them down, cut them up. And
see, I think you gloss over being a fireman, being a wild firefighter.
Oh, yeah?
That's like one of the coolest, most impressive things. Like you picture...
I miss it terribly. It was the most fun I've ever had in my entire life.
Just manly men paratrooping into a wildfire and being like, fuck this fire.
Well, it's not quite like that. But, I mean, yeah, it can be that way.
But yeah, it's a lot of... You have a lot of experience with chainsaws.
Yeah, and trees, cutting up trees and fire. And yeah, so I do... I want to go back to it, to be honest. I don't like what I do now, which is just mostly writing and computer stuff, and I don't like that.
I'm doing podcasts.
Yeah, which is fun. I like the podcast. I just want to be digging in the dirt and cutting up trees. That was the fun stuff, and I stick by that. I think that's the fun stuff. Here's our next. Thanks for asking, CJ. I like to talk, and we talk about it on the Afterpod from time to time. Here is Sam from Indianapolis.
Hey, this is Sam from Indianapolis.
Just said that.
I'm listening to your X review right now, and a couple points about that movie I noticed. Did anybody else expect when she, gratuitously stabbed the shit out of RJ's neck and left the knife handle sticking out, that she was going to straddle it and ride it like a big old bloody knife dildo? Me and my girlfriend, we both kind of looked at each other and expected it. Kind of let down that didn't happen. Hope there's a director's cut that has that. That's the kind of porn I'm into. But also, I have a theory that the reason why the old man answered the door with a shotgun and why he was so upset that there was more people was he was planning on just grabbing Wayne right off the bat to replace the fuck toy that died in the basement for Pearl. Which you kind of, find out later in the film. But that's all I got. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
That is so interesting, Sam from Indianapolis. I didn't even make the connection as to why the dude was tied up in the basement.
Yeah.
Spoilers for X. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Now I realize that a bit more. You really...
Yeah, hit something on the head. I think I did expect something sexual after she killed RJ. I mean, I'm not sure if I was thinking the
RJ was the first guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I was thinking the knife-handled dildo, but I'm not going to say I didn't think about it. It felt like there was going to be something getting fucked after that scene. So you're not completely demented.
And then we have a message from Stream Lounge that I'm not going to play. Let's see here. What is this? What is this?
What the fuck, Bryce? I'm fucking driving, and you put on that god-awful sound of Jeff Goldblum fucking screaming in that porno thing, and I almost had a fucking mini stroke while driving. That was so fucking loud. Anyways, I've been a long-time member. I used to be a Patreon member for a while. I did send some titties with stickers one time. Love you guys. You guys are so fucking hilarious. Y'all crack me up all the time. But, yeah, I'm calling from Colorado, and hopefully I'll get to hear some other cool shit. Anyways, I just wanted to call and cuss out Bryce, because what the fuck, dude? And, yeah, pieces.
I've seen her boobs.
That was, and you can too if you go to our Twitter.
Well, a long time ago. That was a long
time ago. That was just the funniest. I listened to that part specifically.
What is it? What is she talking about?
In horror porno. Can I try to pull up the clip? Because I think it's so funny.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, just a second.
Yeah, no, don't. What are you doing?
I'm giving you
I don't want to cut it. I'm going to talk about because she didn't say her name and I don't remember. There's I've seen a lot of tits. I don't have a lot of ability.
Okay. Say what you're going to say, and then you're going to want to cut this because I need
you don't have the clip on your...
No, I need to search for it.
Stream Lounge?
No.
What is it? Anyway, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. She got a very nice voice. I like her voice a lot, and I hope she calls in more because I just like listening to the sound of her voice. Okay, go ahead and do your thing.
Okay, so this is the setup. So we're playing horror or porno. There was just a clip.
On the X review?
Yeah, on the X review. And this is your reaction. And the part that I get so much joy out of is my timing for playing the next clip.
Okay.
Because it kind of cuts you off.
Okay.
Oh, that's a pretty good clip. Mm-hmm. That's very ambiguous.
Yeah.
I do feel like that's definitely a horror movie, though. And actually, it kind of reminds me of Malignant a little bit. Is that Malignant, the new James Wan movie that I hated so much?
Wow, really, really close. This was a porno.
That's not close at all.
And this was Arched Katie Cush Gets Oiled Up and Cream Pied. So, yeah, you're right. Not really close at all.
Okay.
Wrong on both.
Well, shit. I still have 1 point, though. What's our next one?
Okay. Christ.
I'd still get a kick out of it.
I hate it.
It's so great. The timing on it.
Why did she say Jeff Goldblum?
Well, because that was from The Fly.
Oh, that was?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought that was from something else.
No.
Well, there you go. I'm sorry he did that to you twice. If I know about it, I'll try and prevent that from ever happening.
And I loved it because I just imagined everyone listening in their car. So it goes either you're listening it out loud and someone's going to hear it, or you have headphones on. In either case, panic will ensue.
How did you not have that on a bit on your Stream Lounge?
Well, I wanted to play what it was like in the episode.
Yeah, no, okay, I see. Here's the next caller.
I just realized it's me again. I didn't give you guys like a name or something, so I guess you can call me Pink. I know, that's fucking stupid. Anyways, that's all. Bye.
Oh, she did give her name. Her name's Pink.
Her name's Pink. I love your stage act.
Next call.
Hi, Bryce and David. My name is Sydney. I'm calling from Boston, Massachusetts.
Hey, Sydney.
I was just listening to the review of X that you guys just put out, I think yesterday. I posted about it on the Facebook group, but I just wanted to say something. When you guys were doing the horror movie Horrors, there was a guy who called in about ATVs and asked you guys questions. And David said that, like, they're a death machine, like those things flip over. So kind of a morbid story, but right after I graduated high school, one of my friends, she was going to college out in Idaho, and she was out there like moving in her stuff with her boyfriend, and her family owned like a lot of property, and her and her boyfriend took an ATV out. She was driving it. He was like hanging onto the back, like standing up, and they hit a rock, and the ATV flipped over and landed on her, and she died. And her boyfriend is completely fine. I literally saw him. I ran into him the other day, which is so funny. But
so funny.
Yeah, so ATVs are a death trap, and you can, rest in peace to Cassidy. She was 18 when she died. But yeah, I mean, sorry for the...
Sydney, you fucked up, girl. Oh.
Anyways, it was so funny.
Sydney needs to call back too.
Oh my god.
Oh man, here I'm gonna let her finish here.
Acidity. But other than that, I loved your episode about X. It was gross, but that was probably one of the best horror pornos I've heard on this podcast. And I can't wait to fly out to your show of Hereditary at Kiggins Theater in June. I'm so excited to meet you guys. Yeah, stay cool.
You stay cool, Sydney. You're my favorite. Hey, listen, by the way, if y'all are going to come out from far away and come see, one of these live shows with us, let us know if you want to hang out afterwards. We did try and do a little bar. I think I chose the wrong fucking bar this last time.
Well, there's not many that are open late in Vancouver. There's like 2.
Yeah,
that are open.
But anyway, if you guys want to like hang out and chat after the show, we're totally down. We hang out outside the Kiggins and talk, and then maybe we take it, go to the bar somewhere and talk. Yeah. Anywho, because we, if you're gonna come from far away, I want to make sure that we get to know you. And if you don't, if you just want to, if you listen to the show, I want to talk to you. So let that be known. Thanks for calling, Sydney. Here is Josh from Canada again.
Hey guys, Josh from Canada again. Just wanted to give you some more feedback on you were right, David. It's a Yamaha makes the Grizzly, the 700 that I was looking at. And yes, what I'm using it for. So
speaking ATVs, this is the original ATV guy.
It was so funny.
Josh from Canada. It's so funny. She's fucking died. She's dead now. Her boyfriend's totally fine. Well, not totally fine. He's scarred for life.
It's so funny.
Of course, up here in Canada, we get lots of snow. So I throw a plow on the front of that bad boy, and I plow my laneway and my neighbor's laneways and things like that. So it's used for work a lot, and we've got a few acres as well. So we use it to maintain that. But it's also used for play. We've got a couple of trails around, a lot of trails around, actually. And you were talking about as far as displacement goes. So I'm looking at the 700. Yeah. It's going to do about 65 to 75 miles per hour. Wow, now, I'm not going to be going that fast because you're right. Holy crap, that machine is like 650 pounds. It falls over on you. Hot damn. But I think, for me personally, my experience that I've seen, I think dirt bikes are a little more dangerous. I only say that because growing up, my buddy and his friend were out. They were dirt biking. One behind the other. Buddy in the lead falls off. His helmet flies off. his face gets run over by the guy behind him. So I watched my friend go through months of reconstructive facial surgery because his face got run over by a dirt bike, you know. It could just as easily have happened on a four-wheeler, and things happen all the time. But, you know, I think safety first. And, it's too fucking late. I can't get a dirt bike now. I already ordered the thing, and I'm picking it up on Saturday. So anyway, hope I don't, flip over and kill myself. Ciao.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, they're all dangerous, you know? They're all dangerous, but I mean, you're gleaning over a really important part of this, which is, if you're not wearing a fucking helmet, you kind of deserve to get your face fucked up.
Yeah.
I have no sympathy for these people who get on.
No, he said his helmet flew off.
Oh, you gotta strap it on.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a helmet flying off if it's strapped on correctly. I've been in so many dirt bike accidents, never ever seen a helmet just pop off.
Yeah, two observations. Number one is like, okay, that sounds more like a story for fitting your helmet on, on your head. Number two is,
what if it had been an ATV?
If it had been an ATV, there'd be no facial reconstructive surgery. That would be the mortician reconstructing his skull.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, and I'm not looking to cast shade on ATVs, and they're definitely much more useful in terms of just utility. They are a utility vehicle. And
can you be a little lighter about your anecdotes? You should really be like, and
I like this.
He had to have his facial, like months and months of facial reconstruction. It was so funny.
I like this super morbid stuff. I like these morbid. Hey, whoa. Hey, thanks for calling, Josh. I really appreciate it. And I hope you don't die or anything on your new ATV. And, let us know how. Send us a picture with the plow. Put a caption on it, Mr. Plow. Josh from Canada or something like that. Share it in the Facebook group. I want to see this thing because it sounds like a big boy. Speaking of big boys, Bryce, we have a very special final caller here. It looks like this is a really long number. It looks like it may be from a faraway land. Hey, who's this?
Hey, it's your boy, Magnus. Long-time listener, long-time rat enthusiast. So, I've been meaning to call for some time, but it's hard. It's hard to follow up rats. But I think I have maybe something. But first, I want to ask you a question. So, horror movies, you like them, I like them. Do you especially appreciate, like, holiday themed horror movies?
Oh, no.
Easter Bunny, or like the Beaster Bunny, if you will. Krampus, Halloween, of course, but, horror movies associated with a holiday. I can't get enough of that. But, so that's the first question. Second, I want to talk about Steven Seagal.
Oh, shit.
So there is a movie. I watched it, I don't know, a decade ago. When you could rent DVDs? Me and my friends, we got a little movie called Against the Dark.
Against the Dark?
It's something about vampires or aliens or...
There's a Steven Seagal horror movie?
Vampire aliens?
Steven Seagal didn't like the vampire part, I think. Or was it a zombie part? I don't know. So, he changed it. He decided that the movie should change halfway through. And I think that could be a perfect follow-up to Rats. Against the Dark. Think about that.
I'm reading the synopsis on IMDb. Katana Master Tao leads a special ops squad of ex-military vigilantes on a massacre mission. Their target, vampires on a post-apocalyptic globe. Tao is the survivor's only hope, and he knows the only cure is execution.
Still better than Puppet Master, I guarantee it. So that was Magnus. It's been a long time since we've heard from Magnus.
Yeah, yeah.
He lurks around the community in the Facebook group a lot, and he's definitely still around, and he listens.
Right.
And he's got his own film review podcast called Filmklubben.
Yeah, to be honest, I think he's been pretty aimless after Rats. It's like
it's hard when you have your opus in life so early.
When you achieve your life's dream,
right?
Like, what do you do?
Let's not forget Magnus led the. It was a big deal 2 years ago, a big hubbub where he made a whole movement that eventually culminated in the patrons forcing us to watch the worst movie we've ever seen, and that dirty Swede Magnus made us watch with the patrons, and so that brought you Bats and Rats Night of Terror, both reviews. By accident, we reviewed Bats, thinking it was rats because bats, rats, same thing, flying rats, basically. Yeah. But Magnus is back. It sounds like you can check him out on his Swedish speaking podcast, Filmklubben. And man, sounds like he's got something brewing. The SSEC 2 boys tried to make a groundswell movement for us to watch The Beast in Heat, but they failed.
Gotta tell you, if you're looking for a campaign manager, Magnus is your man.
Yeah, that's not a joke.
He can make shit happen.
He's very handsome.
Yeah.
He's good looking. Yeah. It helps to be good looking.
And his question about holiday horror movies, I gotta say, we've covered a lot of them, most of the Christmas ones at this point. And I got to say, some of the better horror movies are Christmas horror movies, like that we've reviewed.
You better watch out. You better watch out. You better watch out.
You better watch out was great. Silent Night, Deadly Night is still one of my favorite movies we've ever watched.
Yeah,
still holds up. I watched it again this Christmas, and I'm like, oh man, it's so good.
It's so good.
Just tonally perfect. It's one of those where it's a touchstone of like, this is what you can do,
right?
If you like lock into just a weird tone and energy, you can do anything.
Yeah. Yep. It's great. Magnus, thanks for calling in. I'm waiting for your new, I don't know. I don't know what you got ready ready for us, but
the Steven Seagal one is what he's talking about.
Show us what you got. I guess it sounds like he's toying with some ideas. It sounds like he's got a few things rolling around in his head. Those fucking. I'm so irritated that there's just a whole country of good-looking, intelligent people. Isn't that fucking irritating to you? Look at you. Look at me. Like, what is? How is that fair? Then you look at Magnus and you're like, oh yeah, okay, buddy.
Right.
Man, fuck you, Magnus. Get out of here with your fucking 20-digit long number. Keep your name out my mouth, son. Okay, with that, thank you guys so much for joining us for our Puppet Master review. Remember, we got the Kiggins Cult of Horror coming up with The Burbs, April 22nd. We got The Fly in May, at the last Friday in May, and you got Hereditary last Friday in June. So buy some tickets at Kiggins Theater, spelled RE.com. And get those pre-sale tickets because those help our heads, get prepared for good shows. And, share the podcast with a friend. It helps us grow. And if you'd like to support us, you can do so most directly by joining Patreon, getting an ad-free version of the podcast over there, and access to a whole couple of years' worth of afterpods that we record after every show. We're going to record one right now. Bryce, I'm going to play us out.
Let's thank our new patrons.
Oh yeah,
while we're at it.
Let's indeed.
So yeah, I mean we're having a pretty good month.
Really, windfall week
this month. Yeah.
Lots of people have been coming through, hopping on that 666 tier, and also the $5 tier have been popular, but bigger tiers as well.
Yeah, so we've, I don't know where we left off last time, but we can go back to, Anasaurus is back. Winston K came back, I think he was there. Fat and Moody, Mitch B, Leroy G upped his patronage. Oh, yeah, he was the one that asked, like, do I have to pay $6.66?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't believe in Catholicism anymore, but
just to be safe.
Just
hedging my bets here.
So for your information, if you don't want to pay a version of 666, you can always add like a cent more. You just pick the
or $20 more. You can do that too.
James J. And Adam F. Thank you so much for becoming patrons. It helps out. And again, if you're don't like the commercials, like, this is the easiest way to get rid of them.
That's right. And with that, we'll see you guys next week. We love you. Bye.
That was really good.
My ancestors taught me.
I'm a horn. Did I just scat?
You scatted. I don't need the horn. I am the horn.
Scat play is when you play a flute.
Come on, it's not really a talent.
It's like we're instrument.
What do you like best about listening to somebody scat?
I mean, it's just like, I just feel it in me